Hi, I'm Nalini, and I'm here to talk to you about our recent full moon. It's less than 48 hours ago at this point, and it happened at 5 degrees, 9 minutes of Taurus, the sign of Taurus, opposite Scorpio, of course, because full moons are always oppositions. So there are many factors at play, one of them being the true enjoyment of life, not meaning just what gives us momentary pleasure, but what really gives us an enjoyment, the embodiment of joy in life, and what have we kept hidden from others perhaps, but mostly from ourselves? What parts of ourselves have we simply not been willing to look at, or been afraid of, or been unaware of, for that matter? All these factors came into play with this lunation. And being 5 degrees, as it was, the 5 in the major arcana of the starseed tarot. Again, I'm not a tarot reader, but I find it fun. The 5 in that particular Starstream deck is guidance, with a capital G. So where we find our values and where we find the value in guidance. And what guidance do we actually trust? Over the years, I've had many say to me, well, how do I trust that inner voice? The answer is always practice, as it is with anything. Practice trusting it one time and follow whatever it tells us, and then see what happens. And practice another time, and we learn to discern. We learn the discernment of various threads of what we call guidance that flows through us, that always comes from source. But when we are encased in an egoic personality, it tends to come through a lot of filters. So one of the things about this most recent lunation is, with the equinox that it follows, many of those filters have been blown away, obliterated, dissolved. So we have a chance, if we move into silence, into stillness within ourselves, not necessarily not speaking silence, but that inner silence, we have a chance for a new kind of clarity, a new kind of clairsentience, claircognizance that we may or may not have fully embodied at this time. So the October full moon traditionally is known as the hunter's moon, especially in the northern hemisphere where I live. So we can think about that particular flow of energy. What are we hunting? What is it that we are questing for? And what is hunting us? And that does not need to bring up the fear response. How is source stalking you? And what is that you? Because you are source, we all are. We are all divine, we are all that sacred energy, whatever you want to call it. But how are you stalking yourself then as source? How is source stalking you as source, as herself? This is part of the season as we come up into the time of Samhain, the cross quarter of Samhain, called Halloween in some traditions, where they say, one says, that the veils are thinner. Well, what happens when the veils have been blown away? Do the shreds and threads of the veils blow in our faces? Do they dissolve completely? Do we see more open portals? I would say so. That has been my observation. Are all of them openings that we need to go through, see into for right now? Yes, because the great reckoning, the great remembering is upon us, and we need to see more. But are they all an opening for us? And what do we trust in terms of guidance in the way of moving through this time? This year has been one of massive transition. This last cross quarter, these last lunations of massive reset, and we may or may not be feeling it depending on our focus. So the focal energy that comes up or came up for this lunation is that, well, could be outpictured in the goddess Diana, Diana's bow, Diana the huntress, the great goddess, but also considering her silver bow with its unerring precision, which is not aimed as a predator might aim, but always focused on truth. So how are we focused on truth, not our truth, someone else's truth. Those are filters. They don't really exist. They may exist for us in the moment, especially if our spiritual ego decides to defend. And there's so much of that going on right now. That the best thing we can do for ourselves and for one another is to stop judging, to relax and rest in the silence, in the divinity that we are, the source that we are. Radiate that, because that natural resonance for each of us, it'll be different, will be the thread, the current, the wave that carries us through this time. There has been a massive shattering. There is no edge of the pool to grab onto. So it's like putting ourselves into that wave and letting it carry us. So the gemstone that came up in our 13 jewels of transformation for this particular lunation was fluorite. Now, if any of you know fluorite, it's a glass-like mineral, and it is made up of different colors. It can be clear, bluish, greenish, purple. More commonly, the green and purple come together, but it is banded. There will be sections of what seem to be a homogeneous color and then bands within it. And its banded properties came through this lunation because the huge shattering that we just had took away the realities that we don't need. Now, some of them we might feel still served us, but we don't need them. Game over, new cycle. So that has been, at the energetic underpinnings, taken away. So the fluorite comes through. It's a transition stone. It's one of healing and grounding. It is said to amplify grounding energy, to help with clarity, all things we need right now. So it's fun to have that particular mineral as an ally this time. But what has drawn my attention are the bandings of color, because what has happened are that all of the threads of different colors, it's how I see them, the different energies, are beginning to come together. They've been threaded, infused into Gaia. They're coming together now and forming bands of attention, these bubbles of light that burst through, one could say, a fluorite screen or a fluorite veil, just as a way of perceiving. That filter is moving bands of attention through Gaia and through each of us, through our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, psychic, etc. bodies. Okay, and wherever that resonance is needed, it may stop for a while, it may take up residence, it may move through, but largely these are flowing and streaming through us. These are the beginnings of cohesion, the beginnings of cohesive building blocks for new attention, for new energy, for higher frequency octaves of being. We are all, as I've said before, experiential infants in these allegedly adult bodies that will need, like an infant, to learn how to be, how to function in a very new and different world that on the surface, through the cameras of the eyes, may appear to be much the same or worse. But that's because of everything that's purging of all of the energies that will not thrive or survive in these higher frequencies. They need to play out as they play out and dissipate. So how do we get through this? We become that stillness within us. Rest there, relax there. Let the source, the great mother, hold us, embrace us, and radiate how we radiate, how we resonate. And that will attract us or move us away from or navigate us around or through exactly what we need. We can never be navigated through something that does not resonate with us, even a little bit. Might not be fully, but even a little bit. So you won't land up somewhere you don't want to be truly. And all the old lessons are over. So letting them all go and being ready, if not quite willing, definitely able, for what is to come. We are there. We are within the threshold of the new. This full moon was a massive new beginning. And we are headed towards Samhain at love speed. and headed toward the December solstice faster than that. So we get to see through what's left of this calendar year how we are transforming. How will we be? The what will take care of itself. So full moon and Samhain blessings to everyone. Enjoy the ride.